thanks for what you do with your podcast and all the rest. You're doing a great job. Hope everybody keeps tuning in. You get a lot of good info, a lot of insights, understandings of how to get strong, how to stay strong, how to use your strength.
You do a great job, dude. You make things better than they are in real life, I think.
If you don't follow Massenomics, y'all do it. Social media, website, everything.
Massenomics.
Welcome back, everyone. We made it back just in time from California to record episode 462 of the Massenomics podcast, the lifting podcast about nothing. My name is Tanner.
And my name is Tommy.
Tommy, we made it back. We just got off the plane, here we are recording another episode.
1 foot on the plane, basically, still. 1 foot in the podcast studio, 1 foot on the plane.
And 1 foot in the grave, am I right?
It's
After that trip.
It's kind of all the same to me.
This week's episode is brought to you by our fine friends over at Build Fast Formula. You can check out all their supplements at buildfastformula.com. It's the supplements that we use, that we trust. I literally today ordered more of the 80/20 protein powder. I ordered that in the chocolate flavor. Specifically, it's called chocolate lava cake.
That's a good choice.
I ordered another shipment of that, so it's going to be coming to me from Watertown anytime. In no time. They ship quick. And they also have pre-workout formulas, their Faso Blitz and their Full Blitz, and creatine now as well. And you can save 10% on everything that you buy from buildfastformula.com by using discount code Massenomics.
This episode is also brought to you by Texas Power Bars. Right now, if you buy any Texas Power Bar, you can get a free American flag with your purchase. And if you're wondering what to buy, here's a few of my recommendations. You go with the 29mm Texas Power Bar, black zinc shaft, chrome sleeves. You got a timeless piece, and it's a real beast of a bar. You're going to love that one. Also, if you like to deadlift, pull some big deadlifts, I'd recommend a Texas deadlift bar, and whatever finish you go with on the Texas deadlift bar, it's going to be nice. I personally have a red Cerakote because the red pops, and that's a great choice. Otherwise, they also have the Texas Squat Bar, the original Texas Power Bar, Texas Bench Bar, All-American Bar, Crossbar. Pretty much any bar you can think of, they got it for your gym. Go get yourself one at texaspowerbars.com. Thank you, Texas Power Bars.
Oh my gosh, what a trip we had. You're gonna get the full rundown on our trip this week.
Yep.
But first, I see you had our last week's episode 461, was our tier list of songs, and you had song list follow-up written down here.
Unsurprisingly,
so you better follow it up.
Unsurprisingly, just everyone was on board with our picks. No controversy.
I can't believe everyone agreed with all of them. I figured someone would disagree with something.
Wow, you guys are tastemakers. You just know what's good, what's bad. We don't even have to talk about this. Everyone. I
used to feel different. They said I used to feel differently about my opinions, but after hearing you've convinced me on all of them.
It's shocking the number of things that I've just completely reversed on after hearing you guys talk about it. No, that actually was not quite the case, which is what's to be expected anytime you're talking about music. People have varying opinions. Funny how that works, isn't it? But there was a few things that were somewhat noteworthy to me. I'll say two. Two really stuck out to me from what I heard. I expected a fair number of criticisms, complaints, whatever. But the first item that really stuck out to me was Big Toby of Arizona, had never heard Till I Collapse by Eminem, which is kind of crazy. I'm not
never heard of it.
I'm not saying it's impossible, but it is kind of crazy. That one did surprise me. I guess, sure. Maybe he somehow escaped that one. Okay, I'll give him a pass there. But then there was one more thing that was just a little crazier to me, and that is that somehow Big Keith has never heard of Rammstein. That is just wild to me that he has never heard of them. I like it. Big Joey did his research. Keith has in fact heard of Rammstein, and he has seen them before because he has watched the
Triple X,
the action movie, the critically acclaimed action movie Triple X, starring Vin Diesel, which features a scene of the Rammstein in the beginning of the movie playing a live concert. I think they're playing Fire Fray. Isn't that the song I believe they play in that one?
I think so. Yeah, I think so.
So Keith has in fact seen Rammstein, whether he wants to admit it or not. He has, but There are people that have not heard of songs that I take as de facto powerlifting songs.
Is that crazier to you than not having heard of Till I Collapse?
Kind of, based on the fact that it's been around. When did Till I Collapse come out? I'm looking right now. Just the fact that Rammstein has to be like Du Hast has to be like 99, doesn't it?
Probably. They are from a different country, though.
Also, Till I Collapse came out in 2002, so it's not like it's from. God, I didn't realize that song was actually that old. I mean, it makes sense, but in my brain, that is not a 2002 song. I don't know, man. I just thought everyone. I remember watching Du Hast, the music video on MTV when I was like 10 years old. You know,
you're right.
And then I asked my wife because she seems to take pride. She takes pride in knowing. Okay, Du Hast was 97, so it is still 5 years older than that. My wife takes pride. She thinks she has a pretty good handle on music. I was trying to see if she had heard of. I mean, obviously she knows Till I Collapse. Like, obviously, right? But Du Hast, she thought I was making it up. She didn't believe me that was a song everyone knew.
So your wife and Keith both don't know about Rammstein.
Yep. Keith, I guess you have the same musical knowledge as a woman.
Did you have any, like, your number one song that we didn't cover that you thought, that it came up, you're like, we should have had that on there?
A couple that stuck out to me. Someone had one in the Discord. I forgot what it was now, and it was so obvious to me because it gets played a lot too, and I can't remember what it was. But there was another one, Marilyn Manson. You know, that like Beautiful People, that whole era there. Yeah. That fits in, and that does get played at the gym a lot. That gets played at like every powerlifting meet. So that was probably an omission that should have been on the list. Well, do you have any that come to mind?
Yeah, the number one that sticks out to me is Rob Zombie.
Oh, yes.
Living Dead Girl. Because people would, for quite a while, people would actually put that song on and then put that song just on repeat. So it would play literally
for an hour.
Like 10 times in a row.
But you wouldn't really know because all Rob Zombie songs kind of sound the same and you don't really think about it.
And after a while, you're like, wait, have we listened to this 6 times? Or is it More Human Than a Human, actually? Maybe I'm wrong. Either one.
Yeah, I can't even remember. But isn't there, I think there is one.
Big Ben said more.
So there's one of them, though, where the song is like the only one on that playlist or that album when you click on Rob Zombie enough. So just by default, it plays. Or is it Dragula? I don't know. I don't think it's Dragula. I can't remember. There is
one. It
one.
might be More Human Than a Human. Yeah, More Human Than a Human. But yeah. Because Rob Zombie does play so much that I'm like, yeah, that's a very obvious one that we should have had on there.
It is. God, someone had one other one. I do like Rob Zombie though. Someone had one other.
Oh, I like 9 Inch Nails too. Just
9 Inch Nails was a good one.
I just like 9 Inch Nails, so that would have been a good one.
I do. Someone had one though that is a band that I don't really enjoy that much, and that's why I wish I could remember what that was. But yeah, it's too many to keep track of.
Buck Cherry?
No, we mentioned Buck Cherry.
All right. What are you drinking something over there? Or I hope it's not still water.
It is. I'm hopefully making a Costco run tomorrow. I can get stocked back up. It's been on a bit of a dry spell over here.
That water looks really still.
It's very still.
As that water looks like it hasn't moved in ages.
It's just stagnant. There's like flies floating on the top of it.
Yeah, it's not even just still water, it's stagnant water.
There's like muck and green stuff growing on the top of it. That's how still it is.
It's like a big stone lake in the middle of summer.
Yeah. It's like the James River.
Well, while you drink that piss water, that warm swill water over there, I'll just enjoy this
oh God, living the high life.
Black cherry. Oh, I already know it's going to be good.
That crispy crack, I can hear it from here. I can hear that across the Dakotas. It echoes.
Oh, yeah.
Echoes across the plains.
We'll talk about everything we did in California, but we did, just to jump ahead to one piece of the story, we did have the last place we ate there, that water, just specifically the water we got, was pretty good.
I don't know if it was the glass bottle or what it was, but that water was damn refreshing.
It was like some Mexican sparkling water, and it was tasty.
It's top tier.
Okay, we got a lot of stuff here. Let's jump into what we did.
What
the heck did we do?
I need like some intro music to play me in here, or an intro sound of some kind, really. Now I'm ready to talk about our trip.
Oh, just wait. One other thing. Now I'm not ready to talk about it. Now I feel weird.
That puts me more in the mindset to talk about my plane ride home, but that's a different thing.
Yeah, we'll get to that, I guess, then too.
All right, chronologically, should we start it that way?
Yeah, I can't even remember.
We'll
It's been
skip
such a whirlwind.
We'll skip through some of the early stuff.
It has my just overarching thing is it was quite the whirlwind of a trip.
It was, and basically everything went according to. There was only one thing that didn't go according to plan, which is fine. You got to assume that's going to happen on a trip like this. But basically everything went as good as it possibly could have. The trip started like always with you coming here. You stay the night of, and we leave at 4 a.m. We leave my house at we get up at 4 a.m. at my time. Our time, we leave at like 4:30ish, 4:40. We went to the airport. Get there. Okay, no big deal. You fly into Denver.
It's also 2 a.m. in the time that
so we're starting the trip 2 a.m. California time. And because we're so hyped on life, of course we're not sleeping on the plane. We got Massenomics stuff to talk about. So
as we typically always do.
In case anyone was wondering, we're not joking when we say, we have not run out of Massenomics stuff to talk about. That conversation started at 4 a.m. and it went for roughly 19 straight hours. It didn't end.
Essentially, every spare minute that we had that we weren't actively doing something in our itinerary, we were talking about.
Yes, we were. Yep. No sleeping on the plane. None of that.
Everyone around us is probably like, "Oh my God, why you guys shut up about what is it?
How much coffee did these guys drink at 4 a.m.?
What are they run? What is this business that they're running, and why won't they shut the hell up about it?"
I know for a fact if I got on a plane and people were talking that much in the morning, I'd be like, "God damn it, why are you doing that?" But that's what we do.
Yes, it is.
Land in Denver. Like lately, the timing's been pretty good. We usually have about a 30 minute to 1 hour layover. So we just get a quick little breakfast in, get on our way, and we touch down in beautiful California. And I think the first thing we said when we walked out of the airport is, it really does feel like we just landed in a different country. The weather's nice. It's sunny. There's palm trees. The cars are clean and new and nice and shiny. And it feels a little different than our Midwest roots that we have over here.
Yep. And it was the first time I've ever been in California too. So it was my first taste of California.
Cali. But we did get right off the plane. We got our rental car, went straight to
the rental car exchange where the guy what did the guy ask her? He was like,
it's always funny. This is the best thing about getting a rental car with Massenomics now, is that at some point in the conversation, they'll kind of ask like what you're doing and everything, and we always just say business, and sometimes they kind of push on it a little bit. Some fun or business, and they're like, maybe a little bit of both. Like
I was like, hopefully it's fun business if we play our cards right or something like that.
That's pretty much how the conversation always goes. And then this is the last thing. Is the email get big a good one? I always think people's reaction have to be, what is get big?
He kind of had a smirk on his face.
Because the Massenomics email is getbig@massenomics.com. And everyone reads that aloud to you, and I just can't imagine what people are thinking when they see that email address.
I feel like he thought it was boner pills or something like that, just by the look on his face.
Yeah, probably. And the other note about the rental cars, this time we got the Toyota RAV4, which we said it multiple times throughout this trip. It never really dawned on me until now. There is not a car that blends into the masses more than an all-black RAV4. The number of times Tanner's like, I don't even know what car we're looking for right now.
That's thankfully you knew where to go, because I would get out there and I'd be like, I completely forgot what we're even driving, and I don't even know what color it is. I'm like, I think it's darker.
It's just this tiny crossover in a sea of tiny crossovers.
That's why I'm like, you walk out and it's all that vehicle. It's like you're in some sort of parallel universe, and you walk out and everyone has the exact same vehicle.
It's this Truman Show thing where everyone's in on the same thing, and
yes,
and that's a RAV4 for you. But it gets you from point A to point B.
did the job quite well.
Oh yeah, it got us around. We put some miles on that hog over the weekend.
She had some get up and go. I'll tell you that much.
Yes, yeah.
We put some ponies to the pavement.
But after we landed, we seriously went straight to a gas station where we got caffeine and some crappy gas station food. Ate that as quick as we could in the car, started drinking it, and we went to Chad's house, which at this point is, I mean, it's 10 minutes from the airport. It's a few minutes from the gas station. So we pull up, and of course, it just felt like we were in YouTube. You pull up, and there's Chad's garage door wide open with Chad and Marissa sitting there, and it felt like I was on the Juggernaut Training YouTube channel. It was really funny to see that. And, I mean, it was straight to business, though, wasn't it? You know, I mean, we caught up.
I mean, we caught up, catching up, telling a few stories. You know, Chad's a good storyteller, and he
you did have a few stories for us, yes.
Yeah,
like always.
We'll save some of those stories for off the show, I suppose. But he does have some good stories sometimes, but I mean, it wasn't that much of that, and then it's pretty much like, okay, what are we doing? Mm-hmm. So we did a gym tour. Gym tour. We did. Had Chad run us through the squat basics, everything you need for a big squat, and Tanner got to run the camera on that one, so I got to be the model. That's right.
And then
we did a video with Marissa too.
Yep. Had maybe we won't say every single video that we did, just so people.
Yeah, we'll kind of leave.
But Marissa got a video in too, which was great. And at this point, we were doing so good. We were actually ahead of schedule, and they took us to one of their favorite Mexican restaurants in the area, and it was quite delicious.
Something that started with a D.
Yeah. That's the number of people that asked.
That's the most I could tell you.
That's all we could say. Something that started with a D, and it was next to a Buzz Coffee and a grocery store. Yeah.
And we got quesadillas there that weren't really like quesadillas.
And I would not call anything, if you were to tell me to describe a quesadilla, I would say that is not a quesadilla. That is a taco. But it was damn delicious, whatever it was.
Those ones were tasty. Those had a unique flavor to them.
Yeah, the sauce, or I don't know what everything that was going on there, but it was really good.
Yeah.
It's really, really good. Got done with that. Got some more coffee because I had to keep those caffeine levels up. At this point, we had over 12 hours in the day, and we were just getting started.
Yeah.
And we went over to Big David's house.
Yep. Got one of the Davids.
Yeah. Had a little gym tour. And that was fun. We had never met Big David, so that's always with all
first time meeting another crew member in person is always a good day.
Mm-hmm. And you never know. And never know what you're going to get. And Big David did not disappoint.
No.
And Big Ryan asked, which David? It was one of them.
One of them. We still aren't sure which. And actually, this calls for a sack segment almost. Big David had a little present for us. The Gordon Lightfoot album. Summertime Dream is the album name.
And you say,
of course, with the Edmund Fitzgerald track.
Exactly, which was, I believe, track number 2, wasn't it?
Yeah, track number 2 on side 1. The wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald. And this is right up here next to the Creed album that Perfect Little Sweetie got.
Creating a real list of multi-platinum. I think those are damn near diamond albums up there. They've just gone platinum so many times.
For sure. He also tried to give us some of those damn Bells of Steel stringers. And I was like, no, we can't get away from these Bells of Steel stringers.
The Bells of Steel
Even in California,
stringers.
I was like, no.
Wait, Tron sent these to you too?
These damn Bells of Steel stringers. They haunt us everywhere we go. Go across the country and we still try to end up with Bells of Steel stringers.
Oh man. Yeah, that was a pleasant surprise. Shot a video there. That was a quick trip because the day was not done yet. And we had our biggest challenge ahead of us yet. And that was driving from Cypress to Temecula during.
So if you're
roughly
if you're from California, that might mean something to you. If you're not, it probably doesn't mean
anything to us. And especially when we always were checking the time at, when we're having our phone call at 10 or 11 a.m. and talking about it, and we're looking at the traffic and it's saying, it's like an hour 10. I was thinking, that's great. And then when it was time to go, it was showing like 2 hours and 15 minutes, 2 hours, 20 minutes, something like that. And I got it. Had to sneeze there. But that was a trip. We had we went through some traffic there, and you don't get traffic like that in South Dakota. And that traffic
it was
is
some pretty intense traffic.
where it goes
a lot
70,
a lot of lanes in there.
70 to 0 to 30 to 0 to back to 70, and that's 1 minute in.
What I said is not texting and driving doesn't need to be a law. It's like if you do it, you're going to crash.
Actually, now that you say that, I mean, you said that multiple times. Now that I think about it, I don't even really remember hardly seeing signs for that anywhere in California even. Do you?
I don't actually remember.
And there's signs for it everywhere in South Dakota because
South Dakota is so tempting. It's like there's nothing else to do. Like I'm driving just fine, but
you're
like,
I need something to do.
But there, you are pretty busy. You know, like if you were like looking down at your phone for, when they say like, oh, it only takes a split second to whatever. I'm like, that's true in that situation because the traffic does go from like 80 to a standstill at like so unexpectedly.
It sure does. And it just wasn't. It took some work. It took some work to get there,
Yeah. But we did eventually make it to Andrew Garrison's house though.
For a nighttime video, a very, very intimate nighttime one. It was dark by the time we got there. And not only did we get to shoot a gym tour video, he made us meatloaf, which is pretty freaking sweet.
Yeah, he and his wife, so we got to have a home-cooked Temecula dinner that night.
Mm-hmm. The traditional Temecula meatloaf. And it did not disappoint. It was very good.
And mashed taters.
Especially after a long day on the road, you need a home-cooked meal.
Yes.
Can't always be going for this restaurant stuff. That home-cooked meal is what really sets
actually,
it
that
up.
was really nice to have that in the mix instead of just restaurant food the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
Then after that, we finally got to get, that was it for the night. And by the time we got to the hotel, it was, like 9:30 p.m., something like that?
Yeah, which is a long-ass day. It was a day like that.
A 19-hour day.
It was like a 19-hour day. And we talked about this later on in the trip because we both had the same realization. We never really talked about it much, but we did come to this conclusion of you are so exhausted from this in a different way than you are from basically anything else. It's a different type of tired than like working a manual labor job or like let's say on a crazy hard gym session, you're just tired from it. This one it's one where your brain is so locked in and so dialed in that it's hard to really turn it off at the end of the day. Your body is laying there in a way that it feels like it just can't move anymore, but your brain is still just firing away nonstop, even though it's not really conscious. And one of the things we mentioned is like when you're filming these videos, a lot of them are 30+ minute videos and you are so focused and dialed in the whole time. Like there's almost nothing in your life where you're like, my phone ringing. Like, yeah, my phone ringing. I can't even acknowledge it for a split second. Like
even for like, you wouldn't like, how many things do you do in your life where if your phone was ringing, you wouldn't even dream to look at it?
You wouldn't even look
no,
down
this will
at your
wait.
Yeah, you won't like that type of thing. Every single
Well,
conversation.
you can't because that would get your mind so like way out of whack. It would like screw the whole.
Yeah, you'd be all off. And we don't even usually have our phones on us. Like we usually set them down, so we're not even worried about it. But it just is that thing that even if it went off and you're like, oh shit, my phone's on me, you would not even think for a second because like, no, I'm doing this. And not only are you doing that, like if you're the one on camera, you're having a conversation, and the entire time you're having the conversation, you're thinking of the next question and the next question, while also listening to the current thing to make sure you're there for that. And like if you're running the camera, you're thinking of what you think they're going to say and where they're going to be pointed at when, and like how to turn so that you can see it good and not be like there's so many things that your brain is just going so fast the whole time for that. It's by the time you're done, it really does feel like you just got done with this 30-minute sprint. And then we usually sit for like a minute or two and then like, all right, let's do the next one. And then you do it again. And after, if you do like 2 or 3 of those back to back, like in one location, it's, you feel like you put in a day's work by the time you leave that.
Yeah, it's mentally it's really fun, and we enjoy doing it, but it also is mentally straining to do that. And if you watch us it's part of the way we do it. We don't cut our videos. Like
and that is the other one too. Is that, and we could like if something came up, we would just cut. It wouldn't be a big deal. But the way we do it is to make this sustainable for us to do these things. Is we can't spend 10 hours editing a video, 20 hours. We can't even really spend 5 hours editing a video. And so we have to just make the initial run through as smooth and good as possible.
Right. So that way cuts aren't necessary. But that's what requires like 30 minutes of nonstop focus, because it's not just like, oh, actually, now that I think about it, stop that, cut it here.
Yeah.
We're gonna it's
I don't like
no.
the order. I don't like what I said
Right.
there. It's like, no, we're running with this. That's just the way it goes.
Yeah. So that, but then it is hard to shut it off by the time you get done though too. You're exhausted after a 19-hour day.
Well, and you got to meet all these, cool people or reconnect with old friends that you've met before. And you're just thinking, there's just so many things that took place throughout the day that you're thinking back on. I remember when we're talking about this in the car, I think when we were driving to Andrews, that there's one point where we're sitting there eating with Chad and Marissa, just hanging out, having a good time. And I told you, I'm like, my head would have actually exploded if 10 years ago you would have said that would happen sometime and it would just be a casual thing. Because it just felt like we were catching up with old friends. Like there was never a thing ever 10 years ago where something like that seemed even remotely possible.
Right. And now it does just
And now it seems
like
that's just a Thursday in California. That's just how we do it.
And then also that, like, even that first night too, then you're not only thinking of everything you just did, you're also thinking everything you're going to do the next day, like prepping in your head of like, okay, yep, this should work. And, just thinking of ideas for the next series of events.
Yeah.
That did bring us to the next day though. So that would have been Friday morning. Woke up and we ate at,
which the funny part of waking up and being 2 hours back. And I told you this, we set our alarm for like 7:00 and we laid in bed until then. And I'm telling you, I go, oh, Tanner, how often do you sleep until 9:00 Central Time? And you go, I don't know if I've done it in the last 10 years.
Yeah, I honestly probably haven't actually.
So that was the nice part about this trip is normally when we go on these things, it feels like we're always waking up at 6 a.m., which 6 a.m. Eastern time is 5 our time, So you don't even catch up anywhere. Where this one at least had that luxury of being able to sleep in.
And then since we don't have them in the Midwest, we got to go to a Carl's Jr.
Yeah, the closest thing to our hotel.
The only thing we have is Hardee's. So we had to
live
take
the high
in
life. Get that
local,
Carl's Jr.
Yeah, the local delicacy, and do not ever order the breakfast burger. It may be the worst decision I've ever made of ordering something at a fast food.
In ketchup.
I don't know what happened. I just panicked and ordered the breakfast burger. When you're sometimes you're at the drive-through line, and some people have no problem just sitting there, like no, you'll wait on me, and everyone behind me will wait on me, and I don't
like to do that. My wife will take her sweet time, and I always am like, come on. She's like, I'm trying to decide. Like it's just, I don't like to play that game when I'm in a drive-through line.
Me either. But it did, unfortunately, this time lead me to ordering the breakfast burger from Carl's Jr., which don't do that.
It's just a burger with a very thin strip of egg on the top of it.
And a lot of ketchup.
Help it slide down.
Yeah. Then what was our first stop then on that second day?
Yeah, I'm trying. Oh, Darko.
Oh, yeah.
Went to Darko's house. Took
Darko.
a short little drive there. And we didn't know. We knew with Darko.
Mission Viejo.
Yeah, we knew for sure what the one video we wanted to do was. We get a gym tour. Like we for sure knew we wanted to do a gym tour. Outside of that, we didn't know what else we wanted to do. And we got 2 other videos that I think are really good out of his house. And his gym is so striking when you walk into it. It's unlike any gym we've ever been to, in the sheer amount of color matching, customization,
and the smalls.
Just
no gym has the amount of smalls that he does, and by smalls I mean like
the details,
little odds and ends of things. And obviously he makes a lot of that stuff. So
yeah, and he's had the time to really
passion of his. But it is just we have toured a lot of gyms now at this point, and a lot of crazy gyms, crazy in different ways. But his is certainly unique in its own way. Where I'm like I haven't seen nothing quite
in his
like it
gym.
before.
There's a lot of gyms where we go to, and even mine. It's like, why is that there? Just because that's kind of where I put it. It's like, you ask him why it's there. It's like, it's there because of this, which is connected to this, which does this. And it's like everything is this huge tangled web of why it is the way it is. And it all makes sense. But man, there is some thought that went into that gym for sure.
People will be, those videos we did with him are pretty cool. You know, that's all of them really actually have been cool. Also a common thread of these gyms, and almost everyone had the rep open trap bar for some reason. Almost like every gym we went to had the rep open trap bar.
I think Was Grant's gym the only one that didn't, or was maybe David's? There was like 4 gyms we went to that all had the rep open trap bar, which was shocking. I'd never seen one in my life, and then I see 4 in 2 days.
Yep.
Yeah, a lot of that.
After Darko's,
Got some In-N-Out burger.
In-N-Out.
Tanner's
I'd
first
never had
In-N-Out
that
experience.
before. I guess it's just like you say, you go in and eat, and then when you're done, you go out.
Not
So
if you're
I
in
get
that
it now.
drive-through line.
I never knew why it was called that, but now I get it.
Yeah, pretty self-explanatory. We did the whole thing, got the burgers, the shakes, the fries, all of it. It's pretty good. And
Way better than Hardee's.
Way better than Hardee's.
Carl's Jr. too.
I think that's my takeaway is it the best burger you'll ever have? Probably not. I hope it's not the best burger you'll ever have. But when you consider it's fast food and a double cheeseburger is like $6.20, so I'd be like, ooh, if you're judging on that scale, I'm not really sure what competes with that.
Right.
Got done there. And then to Big Efron's house. And man, what a place.
Talk about gyms being unique in their own way. Efron's is a whole other horse of a whole different color.
You see his online and in pictures and in Brian Shaw's videos and all this. You get this.
It's actually hard to frame what that place is like through the pictures.
Because you get this mental image in your head and you get in and it's like maybe still even more than as crazy as you think it is. It still might be more than that even.
Yeah, it is. And just like seeing the layout of it in person, like walking into the Darko's, like you said, it's a little like awe-inspiring when you see it or whatever it is. But Efron's is totally in a way different way. But it's just like, this place is real.
It is.
And it's like this all the time.
It
It's
just
sitting
seems
here
like this
this
fake
all the time.
set when you see it online.
Right.
You know? It's like, well, that's cool, but that's not real. And then you go there and it is real. Theater chairs and all. It's very real.
Yes. And we did a couple videos with Efron there, and you mentioned it earlier, but that feeling, because neither of the videos we did with Efron were short.
No, they were not. Actually, the one we had to cut because the battery, we thought before it started, like, I think we both thought, like, maybe it'll be 15 minutes. And it went significantly longer than that to the point where we actually had to stop so I could switch the battery because I was not anticipating
that's almost like never happened before.
But there was at no point in that video where I'm like, oh, God, these guys need to wrap this up. It was just the content was so good.
But when we kind of sat down between the first and second one there that day, after we'd recorded our 4th video for the day going into 5, I was like, I kind of need a minute here before we and because I was the on-camera one for both of those because I know a little bit more. I have a little bit more history with vintage weights, so it makes more sense. So recording those back to back, I'm like, I just need to let my mind cool down for a couple minutes before we do this again.
And I don't blame you at all because it was at that point, we had cranked out a ton of videos. It had been almost 2 full days at that point, and there was just so much good information that was put down. If you're into vintage weights at all, watching those videos, I think even the most hardcore vintage weights fan will take something out of that.
Yeah. And like the second one we did, as far as that specific subject matter, it's going to be the best video out there that exists on that.
I mean, it might be, you could almost say the definitive guide on that topic.
I think so. After Efron's, we did run into our one snafu of the trip, though.
Yeah.
That's where
we were leaving,
scheduled to go to CT Fletcher's.
Yeah, we were keeping on schedule. We said, all right, we've come all this way. Tanner needs to at least see the Pacific Ocean if he's coming all the way to Cali. And Efron said, all right,
Cali?
Kind of on the way. Go to the Huntington Beach Pier. Check that out. So we typed that in, and then it was on the way there. Tanner, you were in communications with CT, and we got the message that it wasn't going to work out.
Yep. He said he was actually in the horse pistol in the hospital, so he wasn't feeling good. So he could have had someone else there lined up we could have done something with, but I'm like, we kind of, it's either the CT Fletcher experience or there's no experience at all, in my opinion.
Yeah, the magic is having CT on screen there. So
yeah,
we as a consolation prize just stumbled around the Huntington Beach Pier for probably an hour or so. took in the sights and sounds of the ocean, and I don't know. We were probably there for 2 hours, probably about, weren't we?
Was it that long?
I feel like it was. By the time we parked the car, walked all the way out there, stood around and said, "What do we do now?" And just let the wind hit us in the face for a while.
we talked to Grant, and Big Connor might have been around, so we were looking into that if we could go hop over to his house because it was real close and to do a gym tour, and that didn't work out. So then we eventually said, well, should we just go back and eat? And Grant gave us a recommendation that night for eating, and it was Super Polo.
Yes, the polo was super.
Some of the best polo I've had.
It was really good, though. Just straight up, just grilling chicken away. I mean, it was like you went to someone's backyard grill, and they just had chicken ready to go, and you give them money, and you take it. And
what was you've seen Breaking Bad, right?
Oh, yeah.
Isn't it like...
Is it Pollo Hermano?
Okay, maybe that's what it was. I couldn't remember. I thought about that after the fact. I'm like, isn't this like the Breaking Bad? Wasn't it called something like that?
Yeah, Los Pollos Hermanos was was the one in Breaking Bad.
But you can order like a whole chicken or a half a chicken or whatever there, and it was freaking good. That was one of, I don't know, maybe at the end of each rank our top meal of the trip, but that one was a good one. Yeah, no doubt. Definitely not a place we would have drove by and either of us picked without knowing the recommendation. That's for sure.
Oh, yeah. No, there's no way we would. I mean, we wouldn't have even found the place, you know?
No. Oh, and then after that, we got to see Big Mofo.
Yep. And then Big Mofo made the trip down or from
went
whatever
to the karaoke
direction.
bar.
I don't know what direction he's at, but yeah, he made, where did we go? What was that place called?
It was a Irish pub of sorts. Can't remember the name of it.
It's like Dirty or Duddy or
Dusty or Dirty with a U. Yeah, Dirty something.
Dirty Harry.
Dirty Nellies.
There we
Big
go.
Mofo is listening live, actually. Yeah, Dirty Nellies. And there was some of the worst karaoke going on. Not in the sense that they were singing bad, but just the most terrible song choices.
That's what I told Leah. I said some of the worst karaoke. She goes, "You've heard good karaoke?" I'm like, no, I expect all karaoke to be bad, but this was exceptionally bad.
It was exceptionally bad because the songs sucked. Not even the way they sang them. I'm just like,
it was so terrible.
Could you even think of the name or artist of one song?
The only songs that I can even remember from that whole time was the lady when we left was singing "Let It Go" from the Frozen soundtrack.
Well, that was actually horrific.
And I thought,
that was almost comically bad.
Oh, you're gonna pick this because you might actually be a decent singer. Probably the worst singer I've ever heard do karaoke. She was just doing the drunken yell the whole time. It was terrible.
Right. That was like horrifically bad. But the other ones were just so bad. I mean, it was just there was like a bunch of older guys that were just
70-year-old guys singing their 70-year-old guy songs.
And they were picking like, I wish I could even remember. It's like a few artists I know the names of, but I'm like, I couldn't tell you.
Sweet melodies from the 60s, you know? It was
not even like cool 60s songs.
No, they weren't popular songs at all. It was... I don't even know. We said it multiple times. We're roughly 5 songs in. We said, we don't know any of these songs yet. What is going on here? Yeah, random sad songs is all that it was.
Yeah.
But catching up with Big Mofo was always good. Hadn't seen him since the patio at the zoo about 8 months ago. So good to know he made it out of there alive.
Yep. So it meant we got to check off another California crew member off of our visit checklist when we were there too, which is cool. Then what? Last day was Saturday, so we woke up, we grabbed breakfast.
Oh yeah, that Rooster Cafe.
Oh, that was good.
That was really good, actually.
That was a good
for one being left
spot.
to our own devices. We picked that one pretty well.
Pretty happy with that. Excellent cup of coffee there.
Mm-hmm. Good cup of coffee, good food, and then we headed off to the Strength Co.
Yeah, Strength Co. We did a big grant, just like we perfectly coincidentally timed it that he's on like active orders getting ready for deployment, and he just happened to get like 24 hours off. That coincided with us being there, so we got to go meet up with him at the Strength Co. and Big D and Big Connor and Tippy Top and the whole crew, and we did a gym tour there, a gym tour video. We did a tour of Grant's 94 Chevy.
Yeah.
We there was a class going on that wrapped up while we were getting there, and we did Strength Co. stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was okay.
It was okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fun though. It's just anytime we get to see those guys, it's so fun. Big D and Baby showed up, and it
is funny. We see Grant like 5 times a year.
Oh, I see Grant more than like people I consider very good friends I grew up with.
Long-time
like,
friends.
Like local good friends. And it's like, I don't see my local friends as much as I see Grant and Connor and D. Whether it's the East Coast, the West Coast, somewhere in the Midwest, we just see each other a lot.
Like we just saw them in North Carolina a few months ago.
In the last 10 months.
And then in South Dakota.
In the last 10 months, we've
seen
them.
And then in Ohio before. We've seen them in.
At the Arnold, South
Ohio,
Dakota.
South Dakota.
North Carolina.
South Carolina, North Carolina, whatever.
And California. We've seen them 4 times in 10 months. Yeah, I have a lot of people I consider.
All over the country.
Like close, as in proximity to me, friends. And I haven't seen them 4 times in 10 months.
Yeah. And then they took us to a special little I don't know, like a market.
Yeah, was it called Market or Mercado or something? I can't remember what it was called. That was really good though.
I think it was El Baño Market.
Was it?
No, I just
oh, that's pretty good that Tanner's actually confident in his.
No, I think that's toilet, isn't it?
El Baño, isn't that the bathroom?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah.
No, and that place there was like several places you could pick to eat from there, and that we got those there was like a Mexican sandwich, but the tacos that came with it were really good.
Yeah, those were top notch.
And then of course Grant and Big D and Big Connor were there.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell that place was called.
I don't remember. And by the time we finished there, we had to dart to the airport to get our car turned back in and catch our flight, get through security. Of course, the security line was long when we got there, when we were on a tight schedule, or at least somewhat long. It wasn't short or quick. And then I swear to God, right when we were up, we never talked about this, right when it was our turn to go up, then they just let like 5 people in through the side gate all of a sudden. I'm like,
I know.
What is going on?
Yeah.
And they're like, there was like one gal that they didn't go through yet.
This up here, yeah.
And then she's like, "Oh yeah, you come in too." Yeah. I'm like, "Oh fuck, let's let the whole fucking airport in."
Everyone,
we're only next
right here.
Yeah. I'm like, we've only been waiting in this line for 15 minutes, and it's finally our turn next. Like, yeah, let everyone in.
Because like the machine, because the TSA pre-check line got turned around because their machine quit working, so then they were in our line. Yeah, it was. Everyone's like, "Oh, that airport's so fast to get through," and that was one of the longer airport lines I've had in recent memory.
Yeah. Yes. But we did make it we ended up being a little time to spare, I think, once we even got security and got in there. But we got on our plane and took us to Denver. Really short connection there, too. And when we left Denver, that might have been the roughest plane ride that I've ever been on.
That was
I've had a few of them before that have made my stomach turn a little bit. But this one, I was sitting there, I was like, whoa, I'm going to get whiplash from getting just like beaten around like an egg, like you're inside of a mixing bowl in there.
There was a lot of turbulence, a lot. And it probably didn't help that
was like insane turbulence, though, where I was like, holy crap, we're going to rattle this plane apart.
I know. And it probably didn't help.
It was like smashing it around.
Yes, we were in basically the very back of the plane. I think there's one row behind us. And I think that also makes it rougher. I also had the unfortunate chance of sitting next to someone that was quite large, which meant that I couldn't actually sit appropriately in my chair. I had to be off kilter at a very odd angle. Which luckily the flight from Denver to Sioux Falls is like an hour and 15 minutes. If that would have been much longer, I would have been in trouble because that was the largest person I've ever sat next to on a flight ever. And I'm looking at Tanner and he's sitting next to like a 5-year-old. And it could not be more opposites for how
like
our
literally
setup
like
was.
a 5-year-old. And I'm like, we sit down and I'm asking him about Jurassic Park.
Oh, do you like dinosaurs? And then my guy came and I'm like, God damn it.
Was your guy there when we got there? Did he come after?
No, he was one of the last people on the plane. I'm like,
so you had to watch.
I'm just watching.
You had to sit there and do the thing.
No, don't. Because there's like 3 seats behind me. I'm like, oh, it could be any one of those 3. And he wasn't any one of the 3. And it was so not good.
So then did he sit down first and kind of establish his position then before you could?
Well, no, I had to get up so he could sit, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the armrest was gone and half of my seat. And it was very unfortunate. I mean, Thank God.
I never really.
Thank God
I
I was
how,
not on
but
the
I
window
never
side.
even really noticed it.
If
until
I
you
was on
said
the window
something.
side, it would have been if I was on the window side, it would have been awful. I don't know if I actually could have done it. Thankfully, I had the aisle to at least let me like have a taste of freedom, but it was not an enjoyable flight.
I loved it too. The guy that was on the way inside of yours when there was like halfway through that hour-long flight. He's like, "Yeah, sorry to be that guy."
No,
but I'm
he
gonna
wasn't
need to
even
go to
like
the
that. He's like,
bathroom."
"Hey guys,
He phrased it really weird. It was so
I'm gonna need to go to the
weird.
bathroom pretty soon." I'm like, okay, like now? Well, sometime in the next 10 minutes. Like, well, let's just do it now, man. What are we
It was
waiting
like,
for?
all right, keep us posted, or like, what's?
And that was kind of a process. Yeah, it was quite the flight. Luckily, it was.
I don't think the
somewhat
guy
short one.
next to you was excited about having to get up and
No,
stand around in the.
his lungs were not excited either. I can tell you that. They were working.
Was he out of breath?
Oh God, yeah. It would be so. Okay, I'm not trying to do any shaming here or anything, but it's just reinforced to me that it would be tough to live like that. That would not be
Yeah.
enjoyable.
Well, also it kind of screws things up for people depending on your plane seat. It's
Yeah, yeah,
like for other passengers that kind of sucks sometimes.
yeah. But we made it home,
We did.
and you
Made
had
it home.
an easy ride home once we landed.
Much easier than normal. I just had to head over to my family was in Sioux Falls. My son had a basketball tournament in Sioux Falls that day, so we were staying in a hotel. So I just had to hop over to the hotel room and try not to wake all the little kids up. By the time I got there, that was the hardest part.
Oh, were they
And,
sleeping by then?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, 'cause
all
that
three of the
was-
little kids were sleeping, so it was like after 9 by the time I got there.
Because my
'Cause our
family,
plane didn't land till like 8:30 in Sioux Falls.
my in-laws were in town, so that my kids and the whole family, they were all at the ice skating rink, and so which is
Oh.
right by the airport. So they actually picked me up. You left, and they were probably there 5 minutes later.
Okay.
And they picked me up, which I was like, oh, this is pretty late for my kids right now. By the time we got home, we
Yeah.
got them settled into bed and everything. It was getting close to 10 o'clock.
Do you want to hear a little before we continue? Do you want to hear a little supporting our supporting members?
Yes, I do.
Okay, this is a relatively new segment of the Massenomics podcast where we give that back to those that give to us by becoming supporting members. You too could become one by heading over to massenomics.com/join. We would love if you did. It is the number one way. It is the best way that you can support the Massenomics podcast. It's the best way that can keep everything Massenomics going, so we can get out and see more crew members, see more gyms, get more YouTube content, keep this podcast rolling. The number one way you can do that, if I'll say it again, is by becoming a supporting member. So if you've been a listener, you enjoy it, there's options that are extremely affordable. There's options that aren't all that affordable. You can pick anything, either end of the spectrum or anywhere in between. And one of the things we do to give back, besides the discount code, besides you getting on the Discord, besides you getting early info on drops, besides you getting to sign up for our powerlifting meet, all that stuff, is we give back on the podcast. Like this week, looks like Jake the Snake is hosting the MWC Classic Powerlifting Competition again in Brookings at the Wellness Center. That's going to be on March 1st, 2025.
It's like
Big Eddie and Big Alex
like a competitor to the Arnold as far as that goes on that timeline.
Yeah, that's Arnold weekend, isn't it?
Yeah.
Big Eddie and Big Alex had a crew meetup and lift together. Looked like it was in Big Eddie's corn-fed gym, and Scance was sort of there. Big Tommy, with the one arm, hit a 405-pound bench press PR. And then Big Nathan Green was this week's guest on Unpaid and Underrated, so make sure to go give that a listen if you haven't. We talked about the Strength Co., how we're there visiting. Sweet part about the Strength Co. is, believe it or not, they have an entire gym full of Strength Co. plates there, and we got to handle them. They're just like in California, just as they are in South Dakota. The Strength Co. plates were smooth, easy to grip, black, E-coated. I imagine by the looks of the classes, they were getting used there all the time, and they still looked basically brand new. They also had some of the Strength Co. bumpers there in the gym, and you can check out both their iron plates and their Olympic bumpers at thestrength.co. Right here. Then the ultimate surprise.
Yeah, this is what I want to hear about. We haven't got to talk about this yet.
The ultimate surprise when I got home. Not like I was tired from this trip or anything. I got home Sunday morning,
and I was so tired. By the time we got home,
God,
that was a level of fatigue. I mean, it's kind of compared to the Arnold, but the Arnold's also more of a marathon. It doesn't quite hit the same way, but I was wiped.
Yeah, to jump ahead, Sunday evening, I sat down like for the first time at 7 p.m. Like I got my PJs on at 7 p.m. and was like, oh, maybe going to turn something on the TV or something. And I'm like, I am so tired. I am going to bed now. Yeah. So I was sleeping by 7:15 p.m. and I didn't wake. I always get up at 6, so I slept from 7:15 p.m. to 6 a.m. nonstop. I didn't wake up once for 11 hours, and I've like essentially never done that ever. Yeah. And I woke up at 6, and I'm like, I am so tired still. I'm like, I could have, if my alarm wouldn't have gone off, I would have slept for like 2 more hours probably. I would have slept for, I'm pretty sure I would have slept for 13 straight hours.
Yeah.
Because I, like, when I went to bed at 7:15, it wasn't like, oh, okay, let me
like, oh, I'm really
read a little bit or look at something. I was like,
yeah,
like passed out instantly. And this was at 7 o'clock. And so I don't know if the time, maybe the time difference.
That's probably working against us a little bit, but I think it is just the action of the weekend, how the way we do that.
But to go back in time a little bit, when I got back, Sunday, or was that Sunday?
Well, we first saw hints of this Saturday night when we were landing.
Yes, yeah. Huck Finn, Big Boss Man, Bryce Perfect Little Sweetie, and Lou Nutter all spent the night in Massenomics gym on Saturday night when we had both gotten to Sioux Falls. So they brought air mattresses, and then Lou and Bryce slept on the crash pads, the strongman crash pads.
Believe that.
They were out at night. They went to Loggers in the zoo. They closed on the bar, and then they were awake drinking in the gym until 4 a.m.
Oh, they actually stayed up that late.
Yeah. They were up drinking until 4 a.m. And then the first Sunday morning gym goers came in between 6:30 and 7 a.m.
So they really
quite the surprise.
And also the footage of Lou snoring at 4:30 that echoed through the gym. That was a loud snore.
And when I say they slept in the gym, like Finn had blankets and blow up mattresses. There was 2 blow up mattresses in there. Boss Man had one, and and when the gym crew got there in the morning, the lifters, they turned the music on and were there lifting, and they all those guys stayed in bed for like a hour or 2 while there were people there lifting.
In bed, in crash pad.
Yeah. So then Huck Finn left us a bottle of his of their Let's Get Stupid vodka. He signed that, so that's now on the trophy shelf. And then he signed one of the banners. Huck Finn slept here February 1st, 2025.
That's good. What banner did he sign?
The lift banner that's above the table. And in true Huck Finn fashion, every time he would tell the story or talk about it, the amount of time that he had stayed in Massenomics gym would just get longer and longer.
I know. I noticed that too. The number kept growing.
It's like the first person to stay in Massenomics gym for 48 hours.
Yep, that's what it stretched to.
And we shot a gym tour video for his YouTube channel. Boss Man recorded us. That actually came out already. That came out today.
I got through, like, it was at dinner tonight. I was trying to watch it. I only got through about half of it, so I'm still working my way through that one.
So we did that, and at one point I think they were considering staying one more night.
Oh, really?
Like, no, you're not going to want to do that. keep
Just
going.
scram,
Also,
shoot, get out of here.
also, I'm way too tired too. So, so then I got back home at maybe like 3 and had a ton of stuff to do. Not surprisingly.
Yeah. Yeah, that was way more eventful than my Sunday. I don't even think. Yeah. Yeah, I didn't have any obligations like that. So it was smooth sailing.
But I'd gotten a lot of messages from the regular gym goers of like, oh,
What's going on here?
yeah, something's different.
Said I just walk around them.
Yeah, like make it work.
That's just how it is.
So that was
nowadays.
the Huck Finn visit to western northeast South Dakota on the tail end of our California trip. When it rains, it pours with stuff going on around here. I swear it.
Yes, it does. Yeah, so make sure you do go YouTube. Look for the Huck Finn Barbell YouTube channel, and you can find the Massenomics.
Find the Massenomics gym tour
on there.
where you can call us home gym nerds and stuff like that. Yeah. Something else I would mention is now that we've done more and more gym tours. Well, here's 2 things. This isn't what I was starting off to say, but we've talked about this. I do think by the time this comes out, we did like 7 more gym tours, and we have a lot of plans for the rest of the year to do a whole bunch more. We are going to be, as far as YouTube content goes, I already think ours are the best, and we, in short order, if we don't already, are going to have the most. Like nobody's else are going to be better or more quantity or more comprehensive or like a larger variety than us. Like nobody's.
Or even entertaining. I mean, we've now at the point, and this is the truth. We just tell people, just basically think of this as a podcast that we're walking through your gym doing, and that's what it is.
And it works really well. And we've got a formula down that I think is pretty fun, and I think everyone will enjoy when these videos come out. And I do think for people that don't even know, maybe there's going to be some people out there over the next few months that don't know Massenomics quite as well, but they may come to know us from just gym tours, and then they'll feed into the whole rest of this after the gym tour thing. That's my hope. Should we kick the live listeners out?
Yes, without a second thought. Even they're out of here.
Finally, sick and tired of those live listeners. And the thing I was going to say about the gym tour thing, though, when we're out doing these gym tours and we're posting like stories on Instagram, and everyone's picking up that we're saying California, we get all these requests of like, hey, you should come to my gym. You should come to my gym.
Anyone within
my gym
within an 8-hour area or more,
right?
Even,
and like
is sending requests.
We do a pretty tight pattern because we want to get a lot of places in a short amount of time. And actually, I do like people reaching out and saying, hey, you should come to my gym. But if anyone listening wants to know the real hacks of how you get us to how you get the greatest chance of us going to your gym, is number 1, being a supporting member. Like we literally, when we were making this trip, we pulled out our list of supporting members and look up addresses and who
look at the address. Let's go to California and start looking at towns.
Right. And also we want to support the people that are like supporting us also. I mean, we just did the segment, but like we're far more inclined to want to do something with people that are supporting Massenomics.
And also,
it's also like a cheat sheet of addresses for
too.
Right. Because we don't want to just do gym tours with anyone in the world that has a gym. It's nice. It makes it so easy when we walk into David or Andrew or Darko or Efron or anyone that we visited here.
What
Grant.
we do.
Right. They already get it. Like we don't have to explain anything to them, and they really get it also, where it's like they know we have built-in jokes that we can do with them just because we already know that they know the joke. There's no awkwardness about it. So being supporting member is the number 1 thing. Number 2, this is just like a further hack and a pitch for it, honestly, is becoming a certified training facility through Massenomics, because there literally is a map. So we've referenced that multiple times, just even the last 2 months, in reference to home gym tour plans. So if you are on the certified training facility map, that I will tell you, there is a far greater chance that we will also, because it's cool when you do a tour and they're already a certified training facility, which there was like 3 of those, I think, that we did on this trip.
Yep.
So that's just cool. But B, even more importantly, there is a map that we can then look at. So if we're going to do a trip in a certain area, we can pull up the map.
And then once you're a certified training member, so once you have a certified training facility, if you're one of the lucky ones that gets a gym tour, then that gets to go on your pin. So then you're really sitting high on life.
Well, and that's like an added reason why we like to do it then even too, because then it just makes the map look even cooler because we have all these videos of certified training facility people on there. So those are my biggest suggestions. Like if you're reaching out and wanting us to do one, we've got to be coming to your area first. But if we see an area on the map that has a whole bunch of certified training facilities, we're way more likely to make that one of our priorities to get to that area just because it gives us a bunch of options.
And if you want to take advantage of this, both of these are in our store, or you can go to Massenomics.com/join or Massenomics.com/certified, and you can find out more details on both of those.
And one other thing, this isn't to say that we'd never do it, but say, for example, you are one of the 75,000 people that follows us on Instagram, and you see we're doing a bunch of cool home gym tours, and you reach out to us and say, it'd be cool if you would come tour mine. And I look it up and you're not a certified training facility. I'm like, well, you don't have to be. Let me see. Are they a supporting member? And it's like, oh, they're not a supporting member, but they don't have to be. Like we could still do it, but that's already two things off the list that had either of those been yes, I'm immediately
and also you've never bought anything from us before. Then it's like, well,
that's what I was gonna say. That's
really
the next thing. You never purchased something from us. That's why I'm like, basically no.
Yeah, your
like
chances
the answer
are pretty
is
slim
almost
at that
no.
point.
You're right, it is. And why wouldn't it be? Like, of course it is going to be. Like, that's obvious for the reasons. But that's, a thing that actually happens where I'm like, no, we're not going to prioritize people we don't know that also
especially
don't support
and then
us.
especially when it's someone we don't even know either.
Right.
We don't know you. You've never bought anything from us. You've never done anything related to Massenomics. It's going to be a hard sell because we don't even know. I mean, for all we know, you don't even like having fun. So it's just hard for us to even go there.
Right. Anything else on that? That's just kind of
no. I think that's good general advice for people as far as all that goes.
All right.
Yeah, what are we at here? An hour. Got a few random things here. Yeah.
Okay. You go through whatever. I do have an anecdote that I want to share. Also,
well, I want
not related to our trip.
Okay, I want to hear this anecdote. You got my attention.
Okay. All right. I want to see. I'm going to paint a picture for you.
Oh, here we go.
So you're in a town like Aberdeen. Let's just say you are in Aberdeen.
Okay, I can picture it already.
Western Northeast South Dakota. You know the flow of Aberdeen. You know the ins and outs of towns and
the seedy underbelly of it all. Yeah. I know it all.
And much like all towns, we have a whole bunch of convenience stores, C stores. I'm going to call them. That's common nomenclature. Is you have a C store, which is essentially a gas station that also has the thing that you go inside and you can buy your White Monsters or your
which is
Fifth
pretty
Avenue
much any gas
bars
station
or
nowadays, right?
Your
Like
blow pop sucker or whatever it is the kids are into these
shitty
days.
food you need to eat to get by.
Yeah. And then you have some of these on the outside of town, or like when we're on a trip, you're driving, you catch these ones on the interstate and stuff like that, and you go in there. And I always really understand the ones on the edge of town or these places that like
you're saying more like the truck stops, like the Loves and places.
Well,
like
yeah,
that,
like a truck stop, yeah. Or even in Aberdeen's case, say the one by your old house.
There's two there. There's two there by my old house.
Well, yeah, there is two there now, actually, but they're both a good case. Like that's one of the main arteries of coming into town, and you'd like people coming in, like a truck driver or anyone
just
traveling,
a family
like,
coming through town.
Right,
that's the first place they see.
Like, yeah, and that's good. We can go in here and maybe get like some shitty food too while we're at it. What's throwing me off, and I've like some of these I've never even been there before. Like I drive by it literally 10 times a week, and I just don't go in because I have no need. I'm just getting
your
gas.
house is,
like I don't.
Yeah, and your house is
I don't.
there. See.
Right. I rarely, like in Aberdeen, the town that I live in, I almost never go inside any of the convenience stores because I'm not sure what it is that I would buy in there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
First of all, like that's my biggest thing. I don't know what I would buy in there. So then it's these kind of big C stores in the middle of town, like not on major roads. So like when I'm on the corner of, a major road, but on the corner of 8th and 2nd, there's a really big one there, like north of the North McDonald's.
Mm-hmm.
and it's recently remodeled, or at least remodeled sometime in the last 10 years.
That one,
last time,
that's the one we'd probably stop at the most by our old house. Yeah.
Yeah, so that one is my specific example. I went in there for the first time, and I'm like, I haven't been inside. The last time I was in here, it was completely different.
Oh,
like,
yeah, we used to always buy
nothing.
beer there. That's where we'd always buy beer at.
Yeah.
And it was very tiny and shitty before. There was nothing there.
And when I went into it this time, I'm like, they had produce. They had straight up, like, you could buy onions, tomatoes. There was and at first I was like, where's the beer? There's no beer out here. And I'm like, oh, they have a giant dedicated beer cave cooler. And I'm like, it was the size of a small grocery store. It kind of just was a small grocery store. The whole thing was. And I'm like, and I'm looking at the prices, and some stuff is okay. Actually, sometimes gas stations have like weird prices on milk sometimes, where it's like almost cheaper than the grocery store.
Yeah, that isn't an uncommon thing to see. Yeah.
Right. But for the most part, I was looking at prices and like this produce and stuff. And I'm like, who the hell in Aberdeen? Nobody walks anywhere, first of all. It's not like
I can tell you already what's going on there is because I lived on that side of town. It was, I don't have it. It's like, okay, drive all the way to Kessler's, which is the next closest grocery store, or when we're grilling burgers and we don't have Kraft singles and we don't have onion. It's like,
so you would go in there.
We would, it's like you pay the fee.
Like that one I'm talking about.
Yeah, like that's the exact use case that we would do is like, all right, we will pay that price because it saves us 15 to 20 minutes of driving across town and doing this stuff. But in any other scenario, no, it's like, no, you do not want to do that.
Well,
but
and I guess that doesn't apply to me because it's like not as far for me to get to the grocery store.
Right.
But also that thing, well, it makes more sense for you because you're having to travel just to even get there. Because I was going to say from that C-store to the grocery store to like Kessler's is still only like
it's like
8 minute drive.
Maybe 5 more minutes, to get to Kessler's. Like that.
But if you're already driving 10 minutes to get to that.
Yeah, and then by the time you
C-store.
park the car, walk into the store, go to the back corner of the store to get the cheese, walk all the way up. Like it does save you 15 minutes at least. But that is the use case. Is like, ideally you wouldn't need to, but every once in a while we'd.
But there must be a ton of, like, my thing was like, how does this even work? How is there so much, and who is buying all of this crap in here? Like all the candy bars and stuff?
Well,
I'm like, why are you buying this?
So
yeah,
but also I think you forget how much shit people mostly buy.
Well, that's kind of what I ended up. I'm like, but there must be people going in there like that shop there just daily, like that they just go there.
There's
like
probably people that
5
pick
days
up
a week.
Stuff. I don't think that's. I think there's people in the neighborhood that are probably like, oh, yep, I'll just stop by there and grab this on my way home from work or whatever, because it is an ordeal.
C-stores are I don't consider C-stores in that. Like, I'm like, this doesn't fit into our shopping habits, apparily. But
no, it's the last.
Obviously, does to a lot of people, though.
I think it does. Well, and I think you also don't realize how terrible most people eat.
That's the other thing. Yeah, because they also have like inside this thing, there's also basically a restaurant too. It's like it seemed like a made-to-order short order cook almost in there, but just of like the worst possible stuff.
One of the last times we came back from Minneapolis, made a stop at several gas stations along the way. And I remember it did strike me multiple times that just the crap people were buying, whether it's like 3 bags of chips and 2 candy bars and an energy drink. I'm thinking, God, like, is that all for you, man? Because that's like really bad for you, man. Like, it's not good. I can tell you, I would actually be sick to my stomach. My stomach wouldn't be able to handle that. I would
eat all of that.
I'd be in trouble if I put that down.
Yeah. Well, I don't eat like that on a road trip even, but I almost get it when people are on a road trip and you're like, I just got to get something, and they buy crap from a community. But that's what I'm like, how does this one in the middle of town have all this stuff? And like, who's coming in to buy like a stack of Slim Jims, a bag of chips, 2 candy bars? Like, I'm like, in the middle of town, you're not even out. You're not even like driving on a trip.
To do it. That's where the locals
what they actually
go.
Must be though. Yeah,
I think it is. It's right there, and a lot of those, like that one has a ton of apartments. A block or 2 away.
Right.
So within a quarter of a mile, I mean, there's, by Aberdeen standards, a dense population.
And I could also get like back to one of my original points too. Nobody walks.
Well,
Like, nobody,
especially this time of year.
right. So they're already getting in their car and driving. So I'm like, just go to the grocery store.
Yeah, it's in the best case scenario, it's a time saver for people, and in the worst case scenario, it's just buying crap, which is the more common answer.
I get it more in a city too.
Yeah,
where,
there you're
where
just,
people do walk where you're like, well, I don't even own a car. I just got to go to the local thing because I just need groceries, and that's what I do, and that's how I get them. I'm like, there's not people walking down the street carrying groceries in Aberdeen, South Dakota. Not even in the summer.
Sometimes I think
when you see them, like there's a 80% chance it's someone with a severe like
condition,
mental disorder.
Yes, that
like
or,
almost
or
every
the,
person you see
the,
walking
the
has
Asian
like,
exchange students that don't have
right.
cars.
Oh, true.
From Asia.
Yes.
Yeah, which is a
at
common
least
thing at
usually
Northern.
walking to the grocery
yeah, they're
store.
usually you can usually see a group of them walking, but Northern's also 4 blocks away at that point, so it's not even really like they're walking that far.
Right.
Yeah, that's how it goes.
The C-store is quite the racket. But also, someone tell me, I mean, I guess they just do it as marketing, why the milk is cheap sometimes.
I think that's what it is, get people in the door.
It's usually a weird brand of milk, though. You're like, they don't even sell this at
the
the
one you're
grocery
used
store.
to seeing. Yeah.
What is this kind that you
Johnny's
can only
good
get?
ass milk. roll the dice on this one.
I'm like, where are you sourcing this milk from? Like I go to all the grocery stores, they all have the same brand. But for some reason in your gas station, you have this odd brand of milk. Where did that come from? It's Johnny's good ass milk. Isn't that true though? Like usually it's some brand you've never seen before. It almost always
is, yes. Yeah.
I'm like, and I've never heard of the brand, and it's really cheap. I'm skeptical before I even
take your
open
word for it that this is milk.
But we were gonna make French toast tonight, so we really need this. We really need this milk.
When you really need something, you can't afford to be too picky.
Yeah, Johnny's good ass milk.
Okay, I had something show up today. I am now the proud
gym update.
Gym update. Wow. I am now the proud owner of a pair of Rep-Ins, and I have nothing to report because I haven't even got to open them yet, unfortunately. So,
do they come in 2 boxes?
It actually came in 3. I only got the 80-pound set because I'm not a muscle man that can use 100 and 120-pound dumbbells. I was fine with 80s, and so it comes with. It looks like each box is like the handle, the cradle, and some of the weights. And then I have just 1 extra box of weights. So I don't know. I'm assuming that gets distributed evenly between the 2 handles. So it ended up being 3 boxes.
Spare parts.
Maybe they sent me more than what they were supposed to. They got me that. Like, you're from Massenomics? Yeah, you send us a lot of customers. We better pay this one forward.
So do you know where you're going to put them then?
For the time being, I mean, they can go anywhere. They'll have a more permanent home in the next few months here as I get things figured out. But I'm excited to have some more dumbbell action in the mix because nothing wrong with the ones.
Are you gonna downsize your existing dumbbell collection?
Actually, yeah, I am going to probably in a week or so. I have a fair number of things that I'm gonna put on Marketplace. Be getting rid of the Gungners, that loadable dumbbell handle I have, all those 1 pound plates. And actually,
you're saying you might put some of them on Crew Marketplace.
Yeah,
first,
I'll
right?
probably put them on the Discord here probably next week, along with the 45s, 25s, and 35 extra plates that I have because I haven't touched any of those. So clear out some of that stuff, free up some cash, which obviously has to go funnel it back into the gym. You know, it's.
Well, yeah, you can't take already existing.
I can't take
gym
money
funds
out
and
of the
pull them
pot. It's in the pot already. I can't pull the money out.
Once it's in the pot,
yeah,
it stays
in the pot. Yes,
everyone that owns like a gym knows that.
It's just the way it goes. Yeah, so that's
you're not pulling money out of it to like put back into the general fund.
I'm not doing this to make money. I'm doing it to stay healthy, which means the money has got to stay in the pot.
Right.
So yeah, there will definitely be some things, whether it's a week or 2 weeks, but sometime soon here, once I go out there and take pictures, there'll be bunch of random things appearing on Discord probably first, and then Marketplace if things make it
They
that
don't
far.
get snatched up through there.
And along the lines of Marketplace, there was one, I'm not sure if you saw this item, but there was one item I was measuring, I was really debating, and I just ultimately, as of right now, had to decide no because of the space factor.
Which one was it?
Someone had the...
There's not much that comes up that either I don't see or Paul or Bryce or
Paul
Jake
sent it to
or
me. It was
somebody
the
sends
Rogue.
it to me.
It was the Rogue Abrams GHR.
Oh, I didn't see it. Yeah.
And they wanted $500 for it, which
That's not bad.
And it's in Sioux Falls here, which also makes it very tempting.
Do we know the seller at all? Or
No, I didn't know him, but it's new at $750. I don't even know what shipping is on something like that because it's so damn big.
I don't even want to know.
It probably is a lot coming from Rogue too. And I'm like, this is kind of. You could argue one of the machines I'm missing would be like a lower body thing of some kind here, and there are several exercises you can do out of it.
Yeah, I was gonna say you
it's-
can't do a couple. You can commonly do at least a couple different things. with
Yeah,
that.
and that is one of my machines I would always use at either Massenomics or any of the gyms I went to. That was one of the few that I would always go to.
And you know that's a quality one.
And that's a quality one too. It's really nice. And like $500 probably locally, you could probably knock off about $50 to $100 pretty fast if you're like, I'll be there right now. But it's just
you do know you're gonna have that gym fund money of the things.
That's the thing. I'm not even worried about just paying it forward. Like I got it. Just like taking an advance on it. So it's basically free is the other part of it to consider here. It's it doesn't even cost me money, but the footprint of it is almost exactly. Now this is not there's no way this is a coincidence. The footprint is almost exactly the size of a stall mat, right?
Yeah,
And that was very intentional, right?
Mat. Yeah, yes.
But God, when I was looking at my gym, I'm like, there's not really a free horse stall mat, and there's not really a spot to just add a horse stall mat right now either.
Well, you could always add a horse stall mat.
I could add a horse stall mat. I don't know if I can add a machine that takes up an entire horse stall mat on top of it. Is the issue. And that's just ultimately what it came down to is I just don't really have, because by the time that thing goes in, you also got to leave. It's not just the machine. You need to leave a little room around it too. And I'm like, God, by the time I do that, have given up to ever parking my car in the garage again because I've just gone all in on the home gym thing. And I'm just probably someday I'll do that, but I'm not ready. I'm just not quite ready to make that move yet. So for the time being, I guess I have to let it go.
I hope that doesn't become the one that got away.
That's what I start thinking. That's the game you play with yourself. It's like, it's too good of a deal to not do it. They're like, but
then you're like, I don't even know. I didn't want to take up that much room.
I didn't even want it. Like it wasn't even a machine I was seeking out. I'm like, I guess as far as
the
retail
deal's
goes,
so good.
it's like as far as retail goes, I'm saving $250. Like, not that that's nothing, but it's also not like it's a freaking Rhino for like $500. Like if it was a Rhino for $500, I'd really be like, oh God, I actually don't think you can afford to not do that one. Like that would be a much deeper conversation than, okay, save a couple $100 on
But
this.
what if he would sell you the GHD for $250?
Start to have my attention a little more now.
Yeah.
That it was just the size. It was the size. That's what it came down to. If I had a little more space, that could go in there and I could finally get strong. But I guess until then, I'll just remain weak.
That would have been could be the missing piece.
Other marketplace finds that Paul sent me about once a month. He does send me a listing for a vibrating plate of some kind. They all look like they're roughly 100 years old. But he always sends me one of those, and I just got to suck it up and get one someday for the gym and make that one lady happy. So I did get my monthly vibrating plate sent to me, and as a timely one, also this week he did send me an autographed guitar by who? Who was the guitar autographed by? Five Finger Death Punch.
Yeah, I saw that too. It was like $500 or $700 or something.
Very timely find on that one. So obviously I bought that with the gym fund because couldn't let that one go.
Well, that's a gym decoration right there.
I mean, how often does that come up in South Dakota?
Probably this is like a once in a lifetime opportunity.
Yeah, you really, really can't afford the opportunity cost of letting that one go. I don't even know what the price would be on that.
I got we've had the Reloaded Arsenal lever row in the gym now.
Yeah. What are
I'm
the
not sure how
reviews?
long
What
ago.
are the reviews
Yeah.
saying here? What are people saying? I want to know.
Well, I'm wondering if maybe I'm not, the feedback I get isn't the most, the best feedback, because I don't know if everyone's maybe afraid to tell me something bad.
You're not getting the candid reaction.
Right. Because maybe people aren't like, oh, I thought that thing kind of sucks,
Yeah,
because
they're
they
like,
know I just bought
yeah,
this.
it's good, Tanner. It's good.
Yeah.
It's good.
Because what I was going to say is that it seems like it's all been really, really positive reviews, and I certainly see people using it all the time. Of course, it's new, so people are going to do that. But I kind of do have the feeling that it's going to be a machine that gets used all the time.
I think it will be, because that was even, when we were at Los Campeones, that was one of them that really stuck out as this does seem like it has a bit of a novelty to it, but also it just is really well built and functions and moves in the way you'd want it to.
It's really functional, I think. Yeah. I've used it twice now, for 2 workouts for like actually sets and reps, and it's good. It's a good addition. I'm glad. I have no regrets about getting that. And also, like, the way that we weaseled it in and made it fit, I really like.
It looks like
layout.
now when you look at that spot, it's just like a perfect alley of machines when you walk down that way.
Every time we get something new, whenever I think we don't have any more room, I'm just like, at this point, I'm like, nope, we'll just get it and I'll figure it out. And then it'll be like, nope, this just works this
and then
way.
when you look at the old videos, you think, God, the gym was
it's
so
pretty
empty. What was all that space for?
That's right. But that was very worth it. That's what certainly wouldn't be at the price and specific nature of it. It wouldn't be something I would recommend at most home gyms, but for Massenomics gym, it was the right addition. I feel like it was the right use of those funds.
Good. And I think the other one, I think you've told me this, is the Smith machine still getting used and abused.
Machine, I use the Smith machine. I use the Smith machine quite frequently, so I don't even care if other people are using it, because I use it as like my secondary overhead or secondary press. I do what I use it for is either incline chest pressing, which I really like it for that, or seated overhead. The Larry, I'll call it.
Ryan was showing me his Juggernaut program.
He uses it all the time.
I think he uses it for 1 to 2 movements a day.
Yeah.
He has like box RDLs. Did he have like hip thrusts on that thing? He had seated over it. Like, he had so many things that he uses the Smith machine for, and he was saying how much he actually likes it.
It is a very versatile piece of equipment, actually. It
turns out people were onto something when they built those things all those years ago.
I guess so. And I haven't really seen anyone do anything where I'm like, you just changed your programming now, so you just like only bench in the Smith machine.
They've left free weights behind.
Right. I haven't seen anyone go down that rabbit hole. I feel like everyone's using it for a really good purpose too.
A good accessory of some kind.
Yeah, so that's a win also, I think. Oh, let's see. There's other gym stuff, but we'll get to that later or another time. I do want to mention Juggernaut AI. We're out there with the man himself this weekend, Mr. Chad Wesley Smith. We talked quite a bit about Juggernaut AI and a lot about how it's been working so well for Tommy, a lot about how it's been working well for a ton of people that Chad interacts with that are on that app. You could use it too by heading over to juggernautai.app. That's where you sign up through the web browser. That's where you can use discount code Massenomics. It saves you 10% for the lifetime of your membership. It ends up costing about $30 a month after you use our discount code. And I guess what I say, I kind of believe there's a lot of different training programs that'll work for most people if you actually just like work at them pretty hard and kind of pay attention to your diet, nutrition. As long as they make some sort of sense, they're not just complete asinine programming that sucks. If it's just decent programming and you work pretty hard, it's probably going to work, especially if you're in like the beginner intermediate phase of training. But what this does is gives you a very defined path. It's one of my favorites, I guess, of all the different things that I think will work. This is one of my favorite things that'll work, and I've seen it work really well for a lot of people, especially if you're into powerlifting or just trying to improve strength on your squat, bench, and deadlift. So check them out at juggernautai.app.
This episode is also brought to you by Barefoot Shoes. If you head on over to barefoot.store, you You can check out our favorite barefoot shoes on the market right now. Been rocking the Ursus low top in black canvas with a gum sole. Tanner looking extra stylish on our trip to California this weekend. He had the brand spanking new Ursus V2s.
Several people asked about them too when we were on their trip.
And several people were. They were inquiring. They wanted to know what is up with those shoes, man. Gotta get me some of those.
Grant was wearing some Ursus too, wasn't he, when we were there?
Yep, he had the Ursus low. He had the same ones we do. Black canvas, gum sole. But if you'd like to check out a pair of barefoot shoes for yourself, head on over to barefoot.store. Use code Massenomics, and you can save 10% on your next order. Barefoot.store, code Massenomics, save you 10%. Thank you, Barefoot Shoes.
Thanks, Barefoot. Okay, episode 462. We kind of finished our rundown of our California trip. We do have a lot of other trips coming up this year. We're going to be headed. The Arnold is literally just around the corner at this point. It is, I mean, the Arnold is what, like from today? Actually, today is Tuesday. On 1, 2, 3 weeks from today, I'll be headed to 3 weeks from right now. I'll be headed to Sioux Falls for us to get up the following morning and get going. I think. Right?
I was counting my
math check.
Counting my February. Sometimes when I feel like I can't get anything done from work, my other job, I look at the calendar and I'm like, oh, okay, well, we missed 2 days last week for Massenomics. Okay, I work 5 days this week. Next week, if things go according to plan, I'll work 5 days. The week after that, we had planned a little family vacation, so I'll only work 2 days that week. Then we leave for the Arnold the next week, which means I only work for 2 days that week. So as of right now, I have 4.
February's basically
9.
shot.
As of right now, if everything goes perfect, I have 12 working days left in February, and it is February 4th right now. So that's always a good feeling.
Well, February's a short month, though. So.
It's just, those 2 days that you don't get just really ruins the whole month right there.
Yeah. I would just chalk February up to basically.
You know what? You're right. I'm just going to go play with those weapons for a few days. Come back to this work stuff later.
Yeah, tomorrow morning, just wake up when you feel like it, hop out, just set the weapons up, get a workout in.
The work will get done when it gets done. It's not my problem.
Treat yourself. Yeah. Going back to work after a trip like this is also always
there's just so much shit. You just need to spend the first 4 hours catching up on everything that's been neglected for the last 2 days.
The sweet part is, too, I go into work and I'm like, oh, yeah, I really need to catch up on this stuff. And then 17 different people come into my office all like with another thing and another problem.
Yep.
And I'm like, okay, leave me alone. I have hours worth of stuff that I need to get through here, and you're just piling it up. It's like it is when it rains, it pours. People can sense blood in the water, and they're just like, attack.
The sharks start circling.
Yes. Certified training facility to round 3. By the time you're hearing this, it already came out and is probably sold out. I think
probably.
I think we're going to, this should come out tomorrow, February 5th. And I think it'll probably sell out tomorrow on February 5th for our third round.
Probably. If for some reason it doesn't, like you're hearing this on a Sunday or like Monday morning,
check into it. Maybe there's something.
And if there's any, just buy it right then, because there's a good chance there's almost none left.
Yeah. And if it does sell out that fast, which there again, when we ordered the third round, I wasn't yet convinced that it would sell out immediately. And now as it has approached, based on the interest, I'm kind of thinking it will sell out almost immediately. If that's what happens, we're probably going to do a 4th round of it. So if it is sold out, get on the website. You can sign up for back in stock email notifications. And if you happen to sign up for back in stock email notifications on the other rounds, but you still missed out, you can sign up again. Eventually, our supply will get caught up with the demand. At some point in time, you'll be able to get one.
Sometime. We don't know when that is. It could be 2026. We don't even really know.
Someday the slow movers will be able to get one, but it isn't going to be this time again. It is going to be like you're going to have to get on it the day of.
Not anytime soon.
No. Anything else we need to hit on before we let's shut this one down for a week?
Probably about it.
I think that is about it. So do make sure to check out our YouTube channel. We actually Our video that came out this last week was our rundown, our review of the Alibaba dumbbell 4-tier racks in Massenomics Gym.
Lots of good
Videos.
good engagement and content or conversation around that video.
A lot of good conversation on that video. So please check that out. Even if you're not interested in those racks themselves, there's kind of a bigger overarching topic of discussion there about, say supporting made in America companies versus supporting something like an Alibaba. I'm not even going to say a knockoff because I don't think I don't think from a proprietary standpoint, there's anything proprietary about that. So I don't
shelving.
I don't think it's a knockoff. I think it's a
Cheaper alternative.
cheap alternative, honestly.
What's
What are your thoughts on that?
leave a note in the comments. What's more ethical? Buying something from a foreign company or buying something used where you don't support any company?
I mean, if we do have a minute, we should talk about that because we have talked about that, and if we don't now, it'll probably just get old news and we won't talk about it again.
We can put it on the list, though. We could talk about it next week if we want.
Maybe we should talk about it next week, actually, then.
Okay.
Maybe that could be like a title topic, even if I think about it, if we thought about it hard enough.
Yeah, I'm writing that down. I think that's worth a longer conversation.
Okay, let's do that. Okay, so psych, we are actually going to end this episode. You thought you just had 20 more minutes of listening on your drive, and now nope, we're
it's
gonna be gone for
over.
another week.
We'll take it from you. We'll give it away just as fast as we take it.
Yeah. So leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Leave us a comment on this YouTube video. Any comment. Tell us something. Tell us we look funny. I don't care. It'll somehow spark engagement in some way. It has to be a good thing. Buy something from Massenomics.com. Tommy, where do they find you at?
You can find me at Tomahawk_D.
You can follow me at Tanner_Bear. Just make sure to follow Massenomics at Massenomics.
See ya.